Staff, I hereby call today's fourth day, first regular session to order. Today is March 7th, 2025. The time is 2 p.m. here at the Honorable Sus Mafnas Memorial Building in the Senate Chamber. I'd like to welcome the senators and all those who are in the gallery in attendance. At this time, I respectfully ask for everyone to please put your phones on silent mode, if possible, so as not to interrupt the session's proceedings. Today's session is being recorded and will be posted at the conclusion of today's session. And before we begin, may I ask that everyone rise for a moment of silence. Thank you, and with that, I would kindly ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Presente.
Senator Cowho,
Present.
Senator Castro,
Stiga.
Senator Cruz,
Here.
Senator Hofschneider, Senator King Neighbors,
Here.
Senator Magovnia,
Present.
Senator Manglonia,
Present.
Senator Mendiola. Mr. President, 8 members are present, 1 absent.
With 8 members, we have the requisite number to conduct today's Senate session. Please let the record reflect that Senate President Mendiola is hereby excused from today's session. Before we move any further, I'd like to introduce our Legislative Bureau staff, starting with our legal counsel here, Joe Bermudez, our Legislative Clerk, Ms. Doris Bermudez, with us doing IT, Mr. Deborah Kamatsu, also Legislative Staff, LJ Castro. Sergeant at Arms today will assisting the Senate will be Benjamin Tarlahi and Jonathan De Leon Guerrero, our Legislative Assistant, Ms. Jolene Twagaba, and our Journal Clerk, Ms. Janelle Borja. And with that, we move on to our public comment section, item B on the agenda. This is a portion of our agenda where we allow the public to provide comments on any of the agenda items. Prior to giving your comments, please state your name and the entity that you are speaking on behalf of. The floor is now open.
Test. Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Torres, your DOC Commissioner. Alfredo Zenturo, buenas. Good afternoon. Honorable Senate Vice President King Neighbors, Honorable Senate Floor Leader Manglonia, and Honorable Senators of this 24th Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Torres. I stand before you today to voice my strong support for Senate Bill number 24-24 to authorize the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands to join the CNMI Guam Interjurisdictional Corrections Compact to improve and expand inmate rehabilitation and training and for other purposes. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today about an issue that touches the lives of many in our community, our correctional system, and how we can make it stronger, more efficient, and more compassionate. As I sit here, I'm reminded of the men and women in our corrections facilities, the individuals working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure safety and rehabilitation. Yet, many don't realize that right now we have a unique opportunity to make a profound difference, not just in the lives of those incarcerated, but also for the dedicated staff who serve them every day. Currently, our Department of Corrections has empty beds. This may seem like a small detail, but it represents a significant resource that we can tap into. Many facilities across the region, across the nation, are grappling with overcrowding. In fact, our neighbors in Guam are dealing with this issue right now. They could potentially be contracting with facilities as far as Arizona, which is about 14 hours away by plane. Just think about that for a moment. Those long flights and endless coordination could be avoided. Instead, we have the opportunity to step in and offer them the help they so desperately need, only 30 minutes away. Now, I want to reassure you that we will do this responsibly. Any inmate transferred to our facility will do so voluntarily, as mandated by the regulations governing this process. This means that DOC will have the authority to refuse to accept inmates if they do not meet our predetermined criteria. We are fully committed to the safety and well-being of our community. Therefore, we propose that only exemplary, nonviolent individuals who show a willingness to participate in our innovative rehabilitation and training programs will be eligible for transfer to the CNMI. But let's also talk about the financial aspects of this. The revenue generated from this compact is not just a line item, it's a lifeline. By leveraging and utilizing our excess capacity, we can generate revenue that will help us enhance our rehabilitation programs, creating successful paths for inmates to reintegrate into society. But beyond that, this revenue will also allow us to invest and take care of the very people who make our system function smoothly and care for our inmates. Our dedicated correctional staff, the men and women of the Northern Mariana Islands DOC, all of them behind me, who are here to support. These dedicated individuals who work under demanding conditions, facing challenges most of you in here and out in the community can hardly imagine. They deserve our support. With the revenue generated from this compact, we can provide them with raises, hazardous pay, night differential, training and professional development, recognition for the sacrifices they make every day. I envision our DOC to have a cadre of staff who become firearms instructors, self-defense instructors, CPR, AED instructors, etc. This investment in our staff not only boosts morale, but also enhances the safety and quality of care within our facilities, to include our adult facility, our Manhoban Care Center, our Division of Parole, and our Community Outreach Program. Additionally, I want to emphasize the importance of collaboration and community. We're not doing this alone. We're committed to engaging with stakeholders in Guam, advocating for this compact in their legislature. Building these relationships will enhance our ability to provide a solution that benefits both our communities. Both Guam and CNMI need to enter into an interstate corrections compact. These compacts already exist, and Guam is part to the one with other Western states. This interstate corrections compact would allow getting CNMI in a position other states and Guam are already in, industry standard. We are already part to interstate compacts. The Psychology Interjurisdictional Compact was pushed by former Rep. Tina Sablan back in 2022. Even if we decided to not bring any inmates, having this compact would allow us to bring our inmates to Guam on medical referral, eliminating the extra costs associated with housing them in Guam DOC, thus lessening the burden on the CNMI taxpayers. In conclusion, this is more than just an economic proposal. This is a call to action, a chance for us to create a more effective and compassionate correctional system. By utilizing our empty beds, we can relieve some of the financial pressures on our legislature, CNMI taxpayers, provide vital resources for rehabilitation, and invest in the people who keep our system running, which ultimately benefits our CNMI residents. Together, let's seize this opportunity to not just transform our correctional facilities, but to uplift our entire community. Let us be the leaders who make a lasting impact, who can champion both rehabilitation and respect for those who serve us. Thank you for your time, your understanding, and for considering this vision for a brighter future in our Commonwealth. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. If you don't mind, could a copy be provided to our Sergeant at Arms? Much appreciated. The floor is still open for public comments. There being none, go ahead. Thank you, sir. Please state your name and what entity you represent.
Check. Good afternoon, Senators. My name is Captain Seman, and I would like to begin by extending my sincere greetings to you all. Thank you for your time and attention. I come before you in strong support of this measure on behalf of Senator Manny Costru and our Commissioner Anthony C. Torres, advocating for the housing of non-violent inmates from our neighboring islands. As a correctional officer with nearly 20 years of service, I can tell you firsthand that unless you have walked down the prison hallways, and experience the daily realities of our job, it is difficult to truly understand the stress we endure. The challenges we face go beyond ensuring the safety and security of our institution. They affect our mental health, our families, and our ability to continue serving with dedication. Supporting these measures will not only alleviate overcrowding in our neighboring islands, but also address a financial crisis that impacts us all. With the available bunk space in our facility, we have the capacity to house some of Guam's inmates, helping to ease the burden on their correctional system. Additionally, with Guam assisting in the financial responsibility of housing its inmates, increased funding could provide much needed salary adjustments, ensuring that those on the front lines are fairly compensated of their sacrifice. This funding would also allow us to invest in our officers' training, expand rehabilitation programs that prepare inmates for successful restoration as law-abiding citizens. Beyond our department, the economic benefit of this initiative will extend to other critical community service, example, medical referral, youth centers, senior care programs, and other essential resources that requires urgent support. To the public, I want to reassure you that your safety remains our top priority. This is why measures is strictly focused on housing only non-violent inmates. Our commitment to the public safety will never be compromised. In closing, I urge each of you to stand with us in this effort. With your support, we can achieve our mission, strengthen our workforce, create a safer, more effective correctional system. I fully stand with Senator Castro, Commissioner Torres, my colleagues, and all those committed to this path forward. Again, I strongly urge you to support this measure. Thank you and happy Friday.
Thank you, Captain. The floor is still open.
Good afternoon, Vice Pres and Honorable Senators. My name is Clyde Narita. I'm your local licensed cannabis dealer. I'm here to extend my support for House Senate Bill 24-24, which is the compact between Guam DOC and CNMI. Let me start with this: that let us not kid ourselves. The CNMI is in financial dire need of funding. As you probably saw in our paper this morning, our governor extended a letter to our delegate asking for money from Uncle Sam, and $400 million. I don't know if we're going to get that or not, but it is one thing that you should be proud of the Commissioner of Correction, is that he's gone out and looked for alternative ways to fund his operation. The Department of Correction facility here on Saipan is fairly new. It houses 500 beds. And if I'm not mistaken, we're only housing 160 inmates. There's a lot of beds that are sitting there, accumulating space, empty space. This compact will allow the administration and the Commissioner of Corrections to negotiate with the governor of Guam and the Guam Department of Correction. If I'm not mistaken, Guam DOC has about 800 inmates, and their facility is about housing maybe was designed to house with 300 to 500 inmates. They're over. It's a fact. And they're asking for help. There's conversations made behind, in the administration, behind the scenes for both the governors about helping each other out. They're our neighbors, they're our cousins. And I think the opportunity is now, to the point where this compact would expedite the process of bringing these inmates from Guam into the CNMI, filling up our beds, creating revenue for the Commonwealth, revenue that we dearly need, if anything else, at least to supplement DOC's operation, but can be used for other purposes and so forth. And something that we need to come come close to basically admitting that we need to open the opportunities to find other source of revenue. And I really urge this body to expedite the passage of this legislation, this bill, so that the commissioner and the administration can start negotiating with Guam, Gov Guam, on proceeding with this process. I also want to extend my applause to the senators, all of you, for your forward thinking in introducing legislation, that some might find to be controversial, but at this point in time, we need to start breaking the barriers here, thinking outside the box. It might not be happy with some environmentalists about the zoning, abeyance for 5 years, but as a businessman, I tell you that something that's maybe some people are afraid to stand up, but we need to look at those as an issue. Ways of finding new revenue or jump-starting our economy, because tourism is at a standstill. You've addressed the military issue in Tinian and the build-up and the 3% tax, but it looks like it's going to be needing more. And this is where I applaud you, because you've all done this and for embracing other legislation. As you all know, President Trump has signed multiple executive orders on bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, and I think yesterday again he signed another one on the reserves for cryptocurrency. And this leadership here in the Senate has shown the foresight to start introducing legislation to stimulate our economy in other areas than the traditional tourism and federal government revenue. So I applaud you for this. I ask again for your help in expediting all this legislation out of the Senate and into the House so that the CNMI can start reaping these rewards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Narita.
Hafere Zentiro. My name is Victoria De Leon Guerrero, and I stand before you today in support of Senate Bill number 24-24. While I wear the Department of Corrections logo, indicating how my department might benefit, I'm here to speak from my personal experience as a civilian, one who initially did not believe it was a good idea. When I first heard about this proposal, I assumed the worst, picturing extreme scenarios like turf wars, drug smuggling, and violence. But the truth is, these were just assumptions. I had no real information. I hadn't taken the time to ask questions or research the pros and cons. I dismissed the idea outright, truthfully, but without giving it a fair chance, when in reality, it could be a valuable opportunity for the CNMI. As you've heard from Commissioner Torres and Captain Semin and Mr. Clyde Narita, if this bill becomes law, it'll be designed to fit within the CNMI's capacity. There will be limitations in place to ensure its success. And this is not entirely a new concept. Interstate corrections compacts agreements have existed across the United States for decades. The only thing that is new is that the CNMI is now considering it. As a young professional, I think about the future and how legislative decisions will shape the livelihoods of people like me and generations to come. It wasn't long ago that the government announced the end of austerity measures. Yet, we all know that resources have always been limited, even before IPI. And any working resident of the CNMI understands that tourism and military expansion alone will not be enough to place our economy in a stable, let alone growing position. This bill represents a creative, realistic, and attainable solution, one that is within our means. It offers this legislative body the opportunity to establish another source of revenue, structured in a way that benefits both the CNMI and our cousin island, Guam. More importantly, this bill gives the CNMI a chance to build economic resilience rather than continue to solely rely on tourism, military expansion, or federal funds that are increasingly uncertain. While some might dismiss what I have to say based on their own fears, the ongoing conversation about diversifying our revenue streams cannot be ignored. Senate Bill number 24-24 is not introducing a new concept, unfamiliar structures, or foreign investors seeking only for their own profit. Instead, it leverages what already exists in the CNMI, and it positions this legislative body to recognize that it is one of many necessary revenue-generating solutions that must be taken seriously. I ask you, the elected members of the Senate, and members of our community watching this stream, not to dismiss this idea based on fear and assumptions as I once did. Instead, please consider its potential to support our economy, uplift our people, and strengthen partnerships within the Marianas. Thank you for your time and your consideration, and happy Friday.
Good afternoon, members, Senate members. Nonno si Lieutenant Kirugwa, gomu mo in charge ni outreach program gi under e-correction facility. Ganun ka todo siya is testimony ni siya po no i office niya istina bio sinya ajuda amigi correction dan otro tipo de correction na sinya ajuda otro na departamento pera ni correction. Aga sa i correction gagi sa pagi chain kada gua budget hearing off lo aga so as soon as correction we can generate funds because we have the manpower. If we have support from financial then no mababa mas programa de estina biu sinya ajuda mi correction patababa no siya na programa ungan istama explain todo offer pros and cons gisti na bill lo pagui offer funding sinya ajuda amigi gi correction sa bulagi za ami lokina official is to over 20 years, you know, timan manon na yami tabiani sweldo. We understand, you know, financial crisis lo tisinya pata depende gi gobyerno ni para ta no receive zota salary pues estigi na idea sinya no yami no na leverage patafan manoi lokini sweldo ni ginagogo selecta go hasta over 20 years tagi correction. You know, we deserve also, you know, the pay that we work for. So please consider stina bill sa para todo ti para amia loke, no? Sa zangin para amia sempi man show office amilo para todo. No, and no za por favor atan molik isti sa esta no bulan bright ta depende gi federal grants za reality. It's not about federal grant. We need to start looking at ourselves that afay sini ko patafan tagigina no kung iti mga lamtinin ni pues sempis digi zatano outcome lo kuno mga lamtini todo zan matsotsi todo pues sempe moliki munera mona zan moliki nilala. Thank you, Suzus Mosi.
Suzus Mosi, floor is still open for public comments. There being none, public comments is officially closed. Moving on to the next item of our agenda. Reading and approval of journal, there are none. Message from the governor, there are none. Communications from judiciary, there are none. Communications from the heads of executive departments. Clerk?
Mr. President, we have two on our agenda, 2405 and 6.
Any discussions from the members? There being none, we'll move forward. Item G, communications from the House, there are none. Under item H, communications from the Senate, I recognize the clerk.
We have four on our agenda, Mr. President, 2431 to 37.
Any discussions from the members? Being none, we'll move forward. Communication from the CNMI delegate, there are none. Under J, unfinished business, there are none. On to pre-filed bills, an initiative, local bills, and resolutions. I'd now like to recognize Senator Manny Castro for the introduction of his bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. formally introducing Senate Bill 24-24, a bill for an act to authorize the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands to join the CNMI Guam Interjurisdictional Corrections Compact to improve and expand inmate rehabilitation and training and for other purposes.
Thank you, Senator Castro. And moving on, I'd like to recognize Senator Jude Schneider for the introduction of his bills.
Buenas tardes, sus mercy, Mr. President. Formally introducing Senate Bill 24-25 to amend 4 CMC subsection 10306A4 to allow the Board of Directors to authorize the Executive Director to review the grant loan or loan guarantee applications exceeding $25,000 per applicant for other purposes. And also have Senate Bill number 24-26 and to amend 1 CMC subsection 2893D to give the mayors of 1st and 2nd Senatorial District authority to concur on all Office of Grant Management SC applications, programs and funding for the 1st and 2nd Senatorial District.
Thank you, Senator Schneider.
You back. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item L, introduction of bills, initiatives, local bills, and resolutions. I now would like to recognize Senator Magofnia for her introductions.
Thank you, Mr. President, members and public. I would like to officially introduce Senate Bill number 24-28 to amend 6 CMC 3113 to establish disorderly conduct and public intoxication crimes and for other purposes. And if I may continue. Also introducing Senate Bill number 24-29 to establish the doctrine of waste in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and for other purposes. And last, Senate Bill number 24-30 to amend 1 CMC subsection 28002, 28004, and 28032 to certify non-emergency medical transport ambulances and for other purposes. That's all I have. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Magofnia. I'd like to just allow the senators to continue. So recognize Senator Floor Leader Magnolia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Formally introducing Senate Bill number 24-31 to ensure food safety and support small food entrepreneurs, sell low-risk, non-perishable foods and home-cooked meals and for other purposes. Thank you, Mr. President.
And I recognize Senator Cruz. Short recess. We now rise back, and I would like to recognize once again Senator Hofschneider from the 2nd Senatorial.
Thank you, Mr. President. Formally introducing Senate Bill 2432 to amend 2 CMC subsection 3551 to change the expenditure authority, management and control of solid waste subaccounts for the 1st and 2nd Senatorial District to the mayors of each respective municipality and for other purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hofschneider. Are there any other members who wish to introduce any bills that weren't pre-filed? There being none, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item. Reports from standing committees. Under M, there are none. Reports from special conference committees, there are none. Resolution calendars, there are none. Bill calendars, there are none. Under Q, petition, memorials, and miscellaneous communications, recognize the clerk.
Mr. President, we have here on agenda 2420 to 22.
Any discussions from the members? Okay, moving on to R, announcements. Recognize floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd just like to share the announcement, seeing as that we're unsure whether we're going to have another session. We do have the Galita Fest happening on the weekend of the 20th. And then the following weekend, on the 28th, the Rota delegation, along with the Rhoda municipal leadership is planning to hold a town hall. And so we invite the Rhoda community to come out and listen to some of the plans that the leadership is coming up with, as well as hear any concerns that the community would like to share to the leadership. And so again, the 20th, this month is the Galita Fest, and then the week after will be the town hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Floor Leader. I now recognize Senator Hofschneider.
Thank you, Mr. President. And for those that are participating in the tour with CUC, we are going to meet at the power plant instead of the earlier information of riding in one vehicle. So they encourage the participants to dress comfortably with closed-toe shoes for safety. So we're meeting down at the power plant at 9 a.m. on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you for that for clarification. Any other announcements from members? Recognize Senator Mugofia.
Thank you, President. I just wanted to announce to the public and members that the committees on both RE, Resources, Economic Development, and Workforce Labor, and the House Committee on Natural Resources will be holding a public hearing on March 21st, which is a Friday at 5:30 p.m. at the House Chamber, and this is to do a public hearing on the proposed lease agreement for Marianas Resort. Also, after that, we do have a scheduled meeting with Department of Public Lands on March 25th, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Again, it's a joint committee meeting to meet with DPL to ask for clarifications and answers with regards to the proposed lease for Marianas Resort. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mugofia. That's appreciated. And please, to the public who is available on that time, we ask you to be in attendance, as your input is greatly appreciated and important to the process. Moving on to adjournment, I'll now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I move for adjournment, subject to your call.
There's a motion for adjournment and it has been seconded. All in favor say aye. All opposed. We now stand adjourned at 2:33 p.m.